Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Nearshore Cafe podcast. I'm Brian Samson, your host. Today's episode is sponsored by Plug Technologies, plugg.tech, a great way to connect talent from all over Latin America to growing U.S. companies. If you're interested in building a company from the DR, Dominican Republic, understanding how Fintech companies grow there, and talking to an amazing founder, this is going to be a great episode for you. We've got Ricky Michel from Ualett, which is a very interesting spelling. So maybe we'll start there, Ricky. Welcome to the show and tell us more about the naming of the company and the spelling of it.
Thank you, Brian, and so honored to be here with you and your marvelous your partner, people that hear your program. But first of all, you provided coffee, right? So I imagine, at least at this episode, your coffee is from Dominican Republic. If it's not going to be that good.
I love it. I love so I actually do this podcast from Hawaii, which is the only state in the US with its own terrific coffee.
Well, I'm going to challenge you on that, but you're right. It's a bad. So thank you. Look, the name was a little bit of challenging at the beginning because we built a fintech trying to solve a liquidity problem for unserved community, the gig worker community, the independent community, freelancers community. So remember the banking industry, the traditional banking industry didn't allow them to be part of their ecosystem because it was too complicated to understand their needs, their workflow, their cash flow model, and their FICO score wasn't that good because not of there were missed payment or missed remittance. It's because the way their income goes into their flow. But back to the name, we brainstormed and said, you know what? We want a wallet for them. We want a liquidity box for them. But we also need to trademark that name to become more secure and to be a real brand, right? So we combine a couple letters in Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
We use the Spanish combination and we create the UALATT. We substitute the W because if we put the W, we cannot trademark it exactly way. So we build a hybrid, let's say, Spanglish name.
Yeah.
And that's how we build the wallet.
I love it.
So if you are from the States and your native language is English, you can say wallet. If you came from the Latin American, right, you can say wallet also. But now it's wonderful because we have clients even from Malaysia, from Africa, from China, and they also say wallet. So it's good to host the whole purpose on one simple name and one strong name at the same time. So that's how everything starts.
Amazing. That is one of my favorite naming stories I think I've heard, and I've heard quite a bit. So I like that.
Thank you.
Well, let's take it back a little bit. So my understanding is Ualett was founded in 2022. Is that correct?
No, sir. In 2018.
2018. I must have had.
No, but I know why you said 2022. You're right. On 2022 was the first time we raised institutional funding.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was our biggest fundraise, let's say round A, formally round A, because before the first 4 years, we were based on angel investment and see investors that believe, and that's why you see that big, sign behind me saying believe, because that was how we created the model. But in 2022, it was when we finally become a real structure and solid company because of that institutional investment.
Take us back to maybe 2017, right before the original founding of 2018. Where were you? What were you doing in life? And how did this idea even come about?
Well, we need to walk a little bit more back.
Okay.
Because we found this company, 3 friends. It was me and 2 more partners, and now I am the godfather of one of each sons. It's incredible. So we are compadres.
Amazing.
So yeah, it was back in 2014. So we were doing a different kind of fintech model based on MCA world also, but more as a ISO model, independent service officers. But it didn't work. So it was too advanced. It was too complicated
Sure.
for that time. So for every lose, you get a win, right? You get something special if you keep your eyes open.
Hmm.
And that's what we did. We took the best of that mistake. And by 2020, by 2015, yeah, we built the first framework of Ualett. It was something about the gig workers back then, just that the only gig work category that you can find was the rideshare driver.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we built a model around the rideshare drivers to provide them liquidity, fast, clean, not friction, in a friendly way, and
Interesting.
full digital, right? Nobody believed that could happen because they were so away from the system. Their capacity to allow them to become part of the system was difficult. Well, but if you want to be success, you need to build difficult things and become easier things, right? That's the only way you build something. And back in 2017, I test you, I'm gonna challenge you. If you tell me where we find, and I met that angel investor, I challenge you.
Where did
Where
you
I
find
met
an investor?
three chance, three strikes. I don't know if you play baseball, but I gave you
Yeah.
three strikes.
Okay. I do. I do love baseball. So,
All
well,
right.
I think the two cities that probably have the most in the States are New York and San Francisco.
Yeah, but not city, a place, in a specific place, a
Place.
location, a place. You can name it.
A place. I'll take the easy guess and say a coffee shop.
Strike one.
Strike
But
one.
later on, I'm going to tell you how important it is a coffee shop for us.
Okay.
You're so close because a coffee shop is so important for us.
I love the I love where you're taking this interview. I like the guessing games. Let's say a restaurant.
Strike two, my friend.
Strike
Last call.
two. Last call. I'm gonna say a baseball game.
I love baseball, but not in a funeral.
Wow. Okay.
Yes, sir. So in why I say in the funeral, because it was the reality. But in this podcast is about mentoring, do some kind of, let's say, advice to those entrepreneurs that wants to hear how we build things. Right? I was ready. My pitch, it was in my back pocket.
Yeah.
So that funeral, that angel investor was almost retired. He was away just playing golf. He saw me, I saw him, and say, "How you been? How you doing? How you been?" He said, "I saw you at the radio station in a program about entrepreneur.
Sure.
What you doing?" And I said, "Well, I'm building some fintech, this and that." He tells me, "You know what? My advisor always told me that every dollar that I spend in tech is a win." So I said, "Here's my man." So I pitch him at that place, 2 minutes, and he requests me to go to his office. And here we are, 8 years later. Wallet is more than a cash advance. So my point here is to show how important it is to be prepared,
That's
how
interesting.
important it is to be ready to shot, because it's one shot, and
Yeah.
you will never know when it's going to be that opportunity.
Yeah.
So be ready.
Yeah. Now, Ricky, when you were talking about the rideshare drivers, and in the pre-show, you said you spent a lot of time in the States and then in the
Yes.
DR as well. Were you talking like Uber and Lyft drivers, or there was also like a whole string of kind of taxi cabs that were using apps? And yeah, tell us more about that.
Yes. We transitioned it from the regular taxi base cab drivers
Hmm.
to the rideshare drivers. We live and die into that world for around, let's say, 2 years, eating with them, walking with them, visiting their places, their spots where you can find their needs,
Yeah.
talking with them. So we spent around 2 years working with that specific industry, and we learn a lot from that industry, from that segment, right, from that niche. And after those 2 years, we built the perfect, let's say, POC
Hmm.
to launch product. And that product probably we increased the size, it improved a lot of things, but it's the same core that we find back with those drivers, with those taxi drivers from the traditional taxi drivers through the rideshare drivers. So you're so right. You need to understand the full line, the full circle. And that's what
Yeah.
we did back in 2014, 2015.
Yeah, I remember that time. So I was living in San Francisco, and um, I think you kind of saw this inflection point, probably even
Right.
maybe a year earlier of tech.
2013.
Like, in New York, the medallions used to sell for 1 million.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You started to see one industry fall while the other industry rose. So a lot of anxiety, stress, tension, and
Remember, they were in a position where they can project their incomes
yeah,
for years,
right,
not for weeks, for years.
right.
From that, everything explode and disappear and goes to insanity, to an insert. They don't know how to build their new stage as human, as person. So that's why we try to connect the opportunity around rideshare for those taxi drivers that were kind of lost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to ask about because, you probably have almost like two different worlds in your head that you're designing for. There's the DR and then there's the States, right? And what were things that maybe the ride sharing drivers had in common, and where might it have been different in those environments?
Yeah, rideshare driver, probably the majority of their, let's say, skills, variables, condition are the same, no
Yeah. Yeah.
matter where you are.
Yeah.
It's a hustler. It's a person that lives in the street 24/7.
Mm,
Nothing is easier for them.
yeah.
Hardworking people. I think it's so respectable people.
Yeah.
So you need to build, if you're going to provide them some product or service, you need to build something that fits in their needs, in their lives, and their
Mm,
style.
hmm,
It's
hmm.
more custom made, more tailored style if you want to be success. So
Yeah.
so that's since day one until now, and we fight for that. We improve our research. We bring the best of the best to help us to build that customer fix product with
Yeah.
no
Yeah.
mistake, because
Yeah.
it's about trust. If you want to engage with the rideshare community or with the gig worker community, they need to trust you. They need to believe
Yeah.
in you, and you need to show them that you're here to provide that extra mile for them. So
Yeah.
honestly, it's not easy,
Hmm.
but it gave you a lot of strength. It gave you a lot of hope when you work like that, because you
Yeah.
follow the you follow you can
Yeah.
you cannot just follow. You need to deliver some trends and to rebuild the model
Yeah.
consciously.
Yeah. I really appreciate, because I can feel you had a lot of empathy for your user and you really took
A
time to
hundred,
understand your user.
yes.
Did you build this mobile first? And maybe you could even kind of help us think through how you even design the interaction flow for that user.
Well, yeah, the interaction flow. You remember when I tell you, well, we spend a lot of time with them.
Hmm.
So acting with them, their situations, we build the right interaction flow.
Hmm.
When, how, when we're
Hmm.
gonna solve that. Quickness, fast, no friction. Because remember, you're leaving your car, you
Hmm.
eat in your car, you sleep in your car. And sometimes if you don't have something right away, it's the difference between accept or not, delete or submit a request. So that stage by stage, we build it with them. One
Yeah.
of the co-founder also of Ualett used to be a driver. He used to be a car driver, let's say SUV style Uber driver. He spent his life in the meet in all the stages of a driver life, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he also understands so well the life cycle of a driver. So remember, before it was a black car driver or a regular taxi driver. After rideshare, everything changed.
Right.
Everything becomes different, more competitive, more segments to fill out. So that's why for us it was so important to build the first stage under the traditional drivers to
Mm,
understand their world, and then from them move on to the next stage that was the rideshare industry.
yeah. Tell us more about building the company. So, was it first officially founded in DR or the States? And
Well,
how did you think about where to put the team and so forth?
yeah, it's like found a company, a tech, if you want to become a hybrid model in between two countries, two worlds, right? You need to found at the same time in both places. We create the LLC that hosts Wallet in the as a US company base because we serve to US customers to US market, right? But at the same time, we built a subsidiary to help the US based company in customer support, in tech support, and all those factors and variables that you need to become success in the management world. But back then was just two people in DR and two people in the US, and that's it.
Yeah.
But I think that the key here, Brian, is to since day one, you need to decide the big picture.
Mm,
Even if you just have two peoples, but you need to see yourself with 1,000 people, how the company is going to be successful, even at that level. It's to build the first vision on the right way. And that's what we did. We built the company in parallel with the subsidiary in DR to support and just two people in the US to launch the POC back in 2020, 2018.
yeah. Are your engineers in DR or the States or both?
We have engineers in DR since day one. One of the co-founders, Cesar Cabrera, he is our CTO, and he built a phenomenal team of engineers in DR in different categories. Those guys are special
Yeah. Yeah.
because they build with passion, with quality,
Hmm.
with hypertech issues or former performing the best tools on tech right now. They put it together to provide to our customer base the best customer experience and interaction. Yeah. And we also use in US third parties to supervise and to stress the platform, to stress the developers that we have in Dominican Republic. But it's a like I said, it's a hybrid. It's the combination. For example, right now we have a lot of our chief staff is in US and they all are from the United States.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
now they feel like they are from DR as well. And they act like that and it's in their hearts, and it's a cross function. It's beautiful. It's the real marriage in between one country and another working for the same goal.
Yeah.
And in Wallet, we all work for the same goal, no matter where you are. In Hawaii,
Mhm.
if you're in Hawaii, you're going to be a believer. If you are in, let's say, in Norway, you're going to be a believer as well. So it's a family and it's a way of think.
Yeah. Tell us about the recruiting process, especially on the technical side. Were they mostly recruited from a certain university or different criteria
We
you were looking at? Yeah.
use different criteria. Depends of which category we are looking for or which gap we need to fill or which area we want to boost or improve. But we don't have any specific standard on university side. We believe more in your skills.
Yeah.
And we test when we are recruiting engineers or software staff, we test them. And no matter if you came from Harvard or you came from the base in junior institute, if you have the skill set, you're going to be on board. Trust me.
Yeah. Yeah.
We don't want to, underestimate the talent. And that's really dangerous because you find, Brian, you can find kids from nowhere
Yeah.
that gave you the biggest win as a
Yeah.
company. So
Yeah.
I respect that. And as a CEO, I try to fill out the company,
Yeah.
telling everybody to not estimate
Yeah.
nobody because it's dangerous.
Yeah.
Remember what happens with Gatorade and
Yeah.
Coca-Cola.
That's right. That's right. That's right. You know, on that note, one thing I wanted to ask you about, over the last, especially 5, 6 years, we've seen a ton of VC funding go to Latin America and a
Yes.
lot of kind of brand new startups. But before that big flood of cash, there was a lot more like consulting tech companies, so they were exporting services, solutions type companies. And it's a little bit different, say being a Java developer, .NET developer, for working from DR or Buenos Aires or Sao Paulo for
Yeah.
Bank of America, right? Or something like that. And you kind of need a different mentality, to be a early stage startup, and there's a sense of ownership and big scope. And can you talk about, how you kind of built that technical mindset and like startup environment in DR, which I imagine, doesn't quite have the startup scene of like a San Francisco where they're everywhere.
Yeah, great question, Brian. Look, it's about eligibility. It's about how well you prepare your persona and your mindset to understand that the world changed.
Mm,
Right now, remember back, let's say 10 years, 20 years ago, Latin America as a support space, big companies, mid-sized companies, just think in Latin America as a customer support based opportunity. But as you said, off stage, right? When you told me 2020 March, right? To say before and after, I think after the pandemic, the world shakes
mm,
and explode and everything came back. But when everything came back, big companies, mid-sized company understand that they need to look for out of their shorts. They need to walk away from their shorts. And that's when Latin Americans explode because the talent was there. Sao Paulo, Buenos Aires, Chile, Santiago de Chile, DR. We have a ton of kids that went to the United States, prepared themselves full time in the best schools possible you can possibly find, and they came back to their countries and stayed there. That the asset was there. It was just about to discover those assets.
mm.
And I think after 2020, that was the real situation.
Yeah.
Many companies push back like you did. You went to Buenos Aires and you explore a lot of potential opportunities over there, right? And
Hmm.
you probably have some good connection there that for whenever you need them for a project, for a proposal, you just gonna knock that door because you know that door is ready to host whatever you give them. So I think after the pandemic, everything changed. Latin America become not just the hub for customer support, it becomes the biggest hub for BPO, business process
Yeah.
outsourcing in the world right now. Not just for United States, even for Europe. Now Asia is putting their eyes in Latin America
You're absolutely right.
to become the interface in between United States market, Canada market, and them. Why? Because we have the same time zone, we have good English level, and in the tech side, we increase our knowledge, our capacity in a huge mode after the pandemic. So everything makes sense. That's why you see that aggressive wave to Latin America and investment and new tech, for example. You know that right now the two biggest remittance platform, digital platform for remittance from the United States to Latin America were found in Latin America, but now they are based in the United States. One is Felix and one is Tupana.
Mm,
It's based on stable coins,
mhm.
but it's those are fintechs that growing incredible high. Why? The hybrid between Americans, Latin Americans, co-working together. It's impossible not to lose with that combination.
I
It's
love it.
impossible.
I
Yeah.
love it. Ricky, I want to shift to something a little more fun.
Yeah.
Although I'm having a lot of fun, I'll say. But
Thank you.
a lot of our audience has never been to DR. Play
No.
tour guide for us. If they go,
Well,
where do they need to go? What should they
I'm
eat?
gonna tell you something, and don't take me, arrogance, but this is the reality. Like the Argentina say, our meat, the steak from Argentina are the best, and I mean, we are the perfect spot you to discover where everything start in the new world. In DR, you're gonna have the first road, the first port, the first formal street, the first building, the first market, the first church, the first university, and many the first of the new world.
Amazing.
So that's something that I invite everybody to visit my beautiful country because but the secret weapon is how warm and friendly we are. We love to see that great smile that you have right now in Hawaii. We want to see that, but in DR land. The only problem is that after you visit DR, I don't think you're going to have a different destiny for at least for if you want to go to beach place.
I love the confidence.
Yeah.
Ricky, this has been a lot of fun. I really appreciate you coming on the show,
Thank you.
talking about the gig economy, what you're building. I wish you and the Ualett team the best of luck.
Thank you. I just want to leave this for your audience and for the people in Latin America that hear this program. I think you have to believe. And if you are an entrepreneur, you need to build something that nobody's doing. Think in your needs. And when you're thinking your needs, you're probably going to build something special because from your needs, it's when you discover your needs, it's when you really build something. So
Amazing.
believe, let's make it happen.
Wise
Thank you,
words.
Brian.
Wise words by Ricky.
Thank
Well,
you.
thank you again. Thanks to our listeners and our sponsor, Plug Technologies, plugg.tech. Great way to connect talent from all over Latin America with growing U.S. companies. This is the Nearshore Cafe podcast. We'll see you next time.